Page 116, Theme and Variations on the D minor scale. This is kind of fun. It gets you introduced to a theme and variations form. Simple enough, you have a theme, the music, whatever it is, some melody, and then you have a series of variations on that melody. That's a theme and variations. Some of the classical composers, I think, got a little carried away in their variations. You can't even tell what the theme was. It gets a little wild. So at the beginning, 3/4 time, we're in the key of D minor, of course, it's in the title. And basically in the right hand, you're starting out with D minor scale. Harmonic minor. And then measure 10. And then again, you're just using the notes in D minor. Eighth notes, 1 and 2. It's a fingering for a D minor scale. That's all, and then that's tied. That's the melody. And variation 1, top page 117. You're doing the again. Okay, well, that's D minor scale. Go on to variation 2. I'll come back to all these little notes later. Again, D minor scale. Okay, the accompaniment changing. All right, let's look at the left hand. You're starting out with block chords, and they're just primary chords. 1, 2, 3, 1 chord, and the 5/7 chord. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Measure 6, you get a 4 chord. That's a 5/7 chord too. Remember, the full 5/7 chord is 4 notes. And we can use this one, or both, or neither. It's still a 5/7 chord. It measures 7, 1 chord. Going on, measure 10 is 4 chord. Okay, first variation, top of page 117 is broken chords. This is typical for a 3/4 time. It's kind of a waltz type thing. Okay, then variation 2, eighth notes. It's almost like an Alberti bass, except Alberti bass doesn't work real well in 3/4 time, but this does. 5/7, 1 chord, whatever. Put the hands together at the beginning. The variation is the broken chords. See, when you get into improvising and all that, these are the kind of patterns you can use in your improvisations. Just try that. Variation 2, so eighth notes. So forth. And we add the articulation, wrist staccato, short. We want to hear the right hand. And then measure 9, now it's legato. Accent, lift up in the right hand. It's like taking a breath. Then here, connect it. Staccato. Variation 1 is slur staccato. Slur. Just bringing out the natural accent on the first beat of each measure. Connect the right hand, just play it all legato. Same thing in variation 2. Here you play it all legato on both hands. And again, I'm just transferring, just do this in the left hand, and it's just whichever note is down, or whichever finger is down, is the note that plays. But I'm just transferring weight, walking kind of fast. Here, and the weight's pushing the notes down. Forth, add the dynamics. They apply to the melody, which is the right hand. Moderately soft, the left. They give you a PP for that. They don't need that. You should do that anyway. Just you keep that, and then you have a crescendo. They don't tell you how loud to get. Go up to about a moderately loud, and then measure 9. You're loud with an accent. I don't need the accent. Just play it loud. come down. Come down there. Actually, that last note on the left hand has to be soft, really soft, because I want to hear this all the way through. I don't want to drown out the right hand. And then the dynamics on each of these is pretty much the same. You're starting out moderately soft, and then you go crescendo up to moderately loud on each of these. Then we get what tempo? Well, somewhere in the middle, you decide. It can be on the fast side of the middle, the slow side of the middle. It has to be accurate. And whatever speed you take, find the hardest part, like on this left-hand thing, that, or this right-hand thing on page 116, the eighth notes. How fast can you play that accurately and evenly and under control? Don't go faster than that. Then we do these notes. I got notes sending you all over everywhere. You have the theme on page 116. And then on page 117, in the middle of the page, a complete variation 1, which is the top two lines, by playing measures 9 through 14 on the previous page. Oh, isn't this fun? So if you look at 9 through 14, they're the bottom two lines on page 116. So you're just going to play the bottom two lines again, and then you go back and do variation 2, and a variation 2, you do the same thing. After you finish the variation 2 on page 117, you go back and play the last two lines on page 116 again. So it's like the theme was 4 lines long. Well, each variation is going to be 4 lines long also. We're just using the same 2 lines that we did in the theme is all. This, whatever, it's fine. There is an RIT, a retardando, at the bottom of page 116, and the next to the last measure. You slow down. I recommend you only slow down at the very end. You can slow down every time because you're going to play this at the end of each variation. You could slow down with each one if you wanted to, but you could also just skip the retard until at the very end, after variation 2, I can't say the word. When you're done with that, and you come out here, and you play then you can, when you're done, you can slow down there. There's different ways of interpreting it is what I'm trying to say. Slow down each time, or just wait and slow down the last time. It's something to experiment with. This show pedal, I disagree with it. I would prefer you don't pedal this. Let's keep it clean. The whole thing is clean. Don't add pedal there. Just too many overtones, too much going on here. It's too different, in my opinion. I like the whole thing to be clean. On measure 9, you don't have to play them short, but you can disconnect them. You have to disconnect them. Here, so I wouldn't pedal those. I wouldn't use pedal in this at all. I really wouldn't. You can actually, if you want, transpose this to any key you want, because all you're doing is using the scale, more or less, and the primary chords. So as long as you know those in whatever key you're in, you can do the same thing. And if it would help you, underneath the stab here, go ahead and put in the Roman numerals for the chord. So like in measure 1, put in a 1, an I, capital I, under the first. The next measure, it's a V7 or a 5-7. Then a 1, 5, 7. Measure 6, it's a 4 chord or an IV Roman numeral here. In a different key, you're just reading the chord numbers. You're just playing the chord thing for whatever. And it doesn't have to be a minor key. It can be a major key. It can be anything, whatever you want. If I take the key of G major, G major has 1 sharp. Well, I know that if I know the scale, then I'm just going to play that for the right hand. Then measure 9 is going to be B and a G. See, and what they've done is here, for measure 9, it's a D minor chord without the A. So I'm just going to do that in the same, a G would be here without the middle note. So it's here, it's here. Then you can forget the accidental, just stay with, if it's a major key, don't worry about this accidental. The raising the 7th step, that's for the minor. In the major, just play the note that's in it. Here. Just stay within G major and play the notes in G. G major has an F sharp anyway. So, and the one chord for G major is here. You just play the chords. And you can transpose this to any key you want. The same thing with the variations, you're just playing the different patterns. Any key you want, major or minor. Now if you transpose it to another minor key, make sure you raise the 7th step. If you do it on a major key, just play it a regular, just stay within the key signature. Don't raise anything. It could be fun. It's good practice. If you want to understand music theory a little better, you want to get in it better, I encourage you to do that sort of thing, because this will reinforce all these keys and these chords and everything. If you can start thinking, transposing, and doing this in other keys, it will help you a great deal in understanding the theory behind it and getting accustomed to all these different chords and the harmonies that are going on. I'd like to play this with you very slowly. I'm not going to do the dynamics, but I am going to do the full thing. So we're going to keep going back and forth between the pages and the whole bit. So I'll give us 3 counts, and let's just try it together. 1, ready, go. Variation 1. Measure 9. Variation 2. Measure 9. One, two, three, off.